Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've watched any of my other videos, thank you so much. Really appreciate all the watching and likes and subscribing and all that. Today, I'd like to talk about conflicting feelings in grief, which is something that really you just don't expect some of the things that turn up in how you feel. It's quite extraordinary. And this came to me yesterday, where at the moment the weather is wonderful, the sun is out, the sea is looking amazing, there's tourists around, it's Easter week, it's lovely around here. Anyway, I went out for a day walking with a friend. I had a really wonderful time. I had a great lunch, a really lovely walk along the beach, and it was just amazing. And then after all that, in the evening, I suddenly started to feel really bad. I felt sad and I felt terribly guilty. Guilty because I'd had a really nice time. And although we'd spent a lot of the time speaking about Linda and speaking about this project and all the wonderful outcomes that are slowly building here, I was quite conscious that there were times when I hadn't been speaking or even thinking about Linda. And that really got to me, because initially, when you lose someone that is so important to you, you find that they're on your mind 24/7. And I really do mean that. You just feel it in everything that you do, the presence of what you've lost, who you've lost, your future, your plans, everything. And it's just there all the time. And we're now 3.5 months since the terrible day that Linda passed. And things do change as you go along. You don't think it's ever going to change. You just can't imagine a time beyond all that darkness. But yesterday, I had a nice day out, a really nice day out. And then I suddenly thought there was times and Linda was not on my mind. I was concentrating on the scenery, a conversation. Interestingly, we went into a RNLI lifeboat station, and we had a really good tour of all the equipment there. It was so interesting, fascinating. I'd love to do a video about it one day. But all of the time I was having a nice time out there. For some of it, I was very consciously thinking and speaking about Linda. We both were, obviously. And there was those times when I wasn't. And that made me feel disrespecting, guilty for having a lovely day, guilty for enjoying a lovely time whilst Linda wasn't physically with me. And it's really strange how these feelings come across occasionally, because you just don't expect it. Now, if Linda was still here, I could have had a day out. She could have had a day out individually. Quite often, as we'd do different things. And we'd come back and we'd speak about it, and we'd share our day and everything, and it would be wonderful. And I think maybe that's part of it, that I came back and there's nobody here to speak to tell them about my day and to think about all the wonderful times I've had and go through the photos we've taken and all that kind of thing. And it was just a bit of a sad outcome after a lovely time. So what did I do at that point? Having walked for hours, I got my boots on again and I went out for another walk, and I sat on what's becoming my bench, where almost every day I sit there with a picture of Linda on my phone, sometimes play some music, sometimes read some things and just talk to her. And that made me feel better. I felt then that I was including Linda more in my day. And just that extra hour or so of just being out again in the wonderful weather and the countryside and nature, and bringing Linda into my day. And it didn't feel as bad. It felt good. And I spoke to my friend and I said, we had a really great day and everything, and this is how I'm feeling. And it's just part of how this grief journey goes, I think. I spoke to some people today at a bereavement cafe that I attend, which is brilliant. And again, it's just part of all our individual journeys and how every individual grieves for the individual, their person that they've lost. Because every single person, whoever you lose, is different. Even if I was to meet somebody of my age who just lost their partner of 22 years, they would be going through an extremely different amount of feelings and emotions and how to deal with everything than I am, because we're all different and we all deal with things in our own ways, none of which is right, none of which is wrong. It's just how we do it. And whatever helps us to get through, and I strongly feel that whatever helps us to get through whilst carrying Linda with me in the way that I believe she is with me. I speak to her all day and all night. Uh, you could say I probably speak to her more than when she was here, but I think that's a bit rude. The only trouble being, of course, you don't get an answer back, which is the sad part. And that brings me on to another point where last week I was at work and lunchtime came, got my sandwiches out, whatever, and I felt really, really sad that there was nobody to text, because for years and years, every lunchtime we would either have a phone call or, more often than not, a text, WhatsApp, what have you. And there's that gap. That person is no longer there to message. And okay, I could message a friend, what are you up to today? Oh, I've been at work. It's nothing out of the ordinary. But just not having the person that you really want to just say hello to, even if it's just, hello, I'm having my lunch, love you. That's it. And that means everything during your day. And it's one of those strange things that you just miss, really. Occasionally it hits you that they're not there and that it's another part of your day that's gone. And I find that quite sad in a way. There are other conflicting feelings that I've noticed through this journey of grief. One of them is quite, well, two of them actually, they're quite similar. And it's more often, it's not really as strong as such as it was initially. But you get to the point where sometimes you really want to be alone. Sometimes you just don't want to be involved with any other people, whether they be friends, strangers, what have you. You just want to be on your own, in your own mind, and trying to work things through. Other times, that's a really bad idea. The last thing you need is to be stuck in your own mind, because it is the last thing you want to do. So you involve yourself with people, whether it's just going out for an evening, whether it's meeting with friends, whether it's meeting with colleagues, anything. But what's unusual and I find interesting is that there's an interplay between these two scenarios. Quite often I could find myself, I really need to be alone. I don't want to deal with anything. And then a short while later, you suddenly think, actually, this is really bad. I really need to speak to someone. And it works the other way as well, where you can be in a group of people and all of a sudden it all becomes too much and you just have to go on your own somewhere, go out, go and sit down somewhere quiet. And the difference there is quite unusual, how it just comes upon you. And if you're in a similar situation where you've lost somebody recently or not recently, I'm sure you could identify with what I'm saying there. It's the same with physically where I am as well. Sometimes I just want to be at home. The last thing I want to do is to go anywhere. Other days, of course, the last thing I want to do is to be at home. This was our home for a long time. And obviously so many things here are constant reminders of our life together and of Linda being here as well as myself. And so occasionally it just gets a bit much. Oh dear, I really can't be here on my own. I've got to go out, or alternatively the other way. And it's exactly the same as I was saying just a moment ago about being with people. That can swip and swap immediately. You can think to yourself, I really want to be alone now. And then all of a sudden it just hits you. No, I've got to go out. I can't do this. Don't want to be here. And again, another strange confliction in your feelings and your emotions. It's really quite unusual. I found something which has never hit me before, which is anxiety, panic in crowds. A couple of weeks ago, headed into the city, and it was a busy day. It was late afternoon, lots of people about, people starting to go home from work and everything. And there was just so many people about as you're trying to walk through the streets. Walking through the streets I find hard because every shop suddenly reminds you of, oh, we used to go in there, or we've bought something from there. So many reminders all the time. But the sudden, it hit me that all these people, they all seem to be, and I know they weren't, but they all seem to be looking at me, pointing at me, staring at me, or walking right towards me. It wasn't pleasant at all. And I've never come across that in all my time until a couple of weeks ago. But just another way that this whole grief thing comes at you, throws a wobbly every now and then. And yeah, there we go. I'm currently reading a book, and it's just a fiction story. And reading on the bus this morning, one line suddenly got to me. Isn't it strange that just even words on a page can make you suddenly remember all sorts? And what it was, the character said, as she did something or other, she retied her ponytail. and I can just imagine Linda with her hair and a hair bobble. And it's amazing. Just those two words, and suddenly I'm drifting off into a whole other world of memories, and I can picture Linda as if she's here. It's astonishing. Another couple of sentences after, there was something I completely forgot what it was now, because of course brain fog still with me. People that know me will know that's quite common, but there we go. But anyway, I just thought I'd share a couple of thoughts about how grief hits you, and the way I can't say I'm dealing with it or anything, but all I'm doing is I notice when these things occur, when you find a confliction in whether you should be home or out, or whether you should be with people or not, or whether you should find that you can allow yourself to enjoy a day. I find if you notice the feeling and the emotion, give it a little while. And like I said yesterday, when I went back out and spent some time with Linda as close to me as I can, and that got me through it. So I just thought I'd share a couple of thoughts there. Another thing I'd just like to quickly talk about is a little bit of an update on the whole project as such. This is obviously Linda's legacy all around the coast, and for quite a while I've been walking just a tiny weeny little bit of the coast. But there are plans ahead, afoot, whichever. Personally, I've not done very much by way of training yet. There are plans for that to start soon. But I have been walking daily. The last 6 weeks now, I've averaged around about 14,000 steps, which is pretty good going. I don't know what it is in miles or kilometers, but a decent step count. And I'll get that up a little bit more so I can confidently do decent distance every day. I've been talking about this whole project to a whole range of people in everyday life and beyond. And I must say, it's so comforting to have positive feedback from so many people. And I really appreciate that. It's brilliant, whether it be online or physically meeting people. It's really good. I've talked with the charities that I'm supporting, and at this point, there is no link on any of my social media or sites. of how to donate to them. But by the end of this month, April, that will all be sorted out. So if anybody would like to start giving to the to incredibly worthwhile charities, that would be great. You don't have to wait for me to start wandering around the whole country. I'm going to do a few lesser walks, sponsored walks or something. I'll join in later in the year and try and raise some money individually for the charities, which would be a great idea. And yeah, I think that's about as far as it goes with all the plans so far. So if you haven't already checked out, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I say that depends where you're watching this video, of course. And the website is in progress at the moment. You can type in Linda's Legacy, AATC, and .co.uk.com, whatever you like, it'll come up with a blank page. By the end of the month, there'll be some information there, and that will build over the period, particularly when the whole round the coast gets underway. I'd like to have a whole way of being able to follow me around there on a map, and there'll also be some information on there about grief support, because that's another thing that I have been looking into, where talking to other people that have not only lost their partners, but have lost a whole range of people that are close to them. And I really want to get into speaking to some more people and discuss how we can cope with our losses and what we can do to move forward in our lives whilst carrying those that we love and have lost, because that is so important, I believe. So that's it for today. I will get back out tomorrow and keep on walking. And do please check out, there's a short video going up every day, little inspirational quotes or just a bit of fun, whatever happens, whatever I feel like at the time. So please have a check out those. And if you wouldn't mind, it would be so great if you could like any videos I've got, and please subscribe to wherever I am on social media, because it just helps get the word out. So thanks so much for watching, and do take care, everybody.